I'm sitting here waiting to log into therapy. It's been 100 degrees for the past 2 days. I don't think I've ever lived through that type of weather. Maybe like once when I was younger. I don't remember it really getting that hot in Maryland. I don't know. I never feel like going to therapy, but every time I go, I'm glad I went. I ran down to the store this morning to get paper towels. I've started going outside more, and it's made me feel so much better. When this heat corrects itself, I'm going to start going out first thing in the morning, even for 20 minutes, and walking because there is a huge park close to my house. And I just felt so energized. I was talking to my daughter about how anxiety shows up in us because we're different signs. She's an earth sign, I'm a water sign. And she's all earth and air in her chart. I'm mostly water. Water. And so we were talking about how we should work with our elements to deal with our stress. So for me, that means moving around a lot. Like, I need to move around and I need to be outside. I need to flow. Otherwise, I feel stuck, start feeling anxious, and start making, I don't want to say erratic decisions, but decisions that don't align with the plan. It's like, regardless of your emotions, stick with the plan, Fury. Stick with the plan. Because your emotions will change. But the plan is the plan. We need to stick with the plan. Last week, the teenagers, like, I hit my breaking point with them with the house. And I had to cycle back. Shout out to Kateri. I love you. Thank you so much for telling me this. She was like, you need to look at your trigger and figure out what's causing it and deal with it because it's given you need to deal with the shit because it's the same thing over and over again. And it's like a normal person, even if they had to repeat themselves over and over and over again, would not bug out about like hair being left in the shower or like a couple of pieces of rice being left on the stove after somebody cooked. Especially if you can see that they've made an effort to clean other stuff. But it's like for some reason, when I go into a room, my brain zeroes in on anything that's wrong or out of place. And it drives me up the wall. So it's like, I'm like, why am I taking personally when my kids don't pristinely clean a room? And then I'm like, I feel like they're doing it on purpose, like they're disrespecting me and aren't hearing me. And then I remember being made to feel like that in my marriage and in my childhood. So I connected my current trigger all the way back to how I was treated as a child. And now I'm about to talk to my therapist about it in therapy. I started a TikTok, something I never thought I would do. And the only reason that I did it was for 2 days, my channel slowed down. And I mean, went from like 1,000 views an hour to 5. And I panicked and devised a plan to get more traffic to my channel and started something that I had refused to do for 4 years. Tell me why I went on there and I already had an account. I was like, I don't remember making this. Had nothing on it. I had 11 followers and my only friend was Ra, my son. I'm like, when did I do this? Come to find out, I guess they were just restructuring my channel because I may have gotten lower views per hour when I checked it, but my engagement rate, my average time watched went up 100%. But that wasn't the point. The point was that small change sent me low-key into like a depressive state. Like, I didn't fall into a full depression. I'm sitting here in front of you right now doing what I gotta do, like, with a smile on my face. But I was really, 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 really low. Like, really low for several days after that. Like, it, I have to go with the flow more and be more adaptable. When things happen, can't not panic. I have to not panic. And I'm so sick of hearing go with the flow. It irritates me because it sounds so easy, and for me, it's not. But I'm not going to reframe this one. I'm going to accept it as what it is in the spirit of learning how to accept things. They used to say meeting life on life's terms in therapy. Yo, I've learned, like, when I tell you I was in therapy, I treated therapy like college. Matter of fact, I treated it like university. I followed all the rules. I was such a square. When I did my chores, it was like spotless. I didn't talk to nobody. I stayed to myself. We weren't allowed to have our phones for like the first 30 days. So like every time you would have to like earn levels, and you could earn privileges. When you first got there, you had nothing. You had no phone. You couldn't go outside. You had to go to NA or AA meetings every single day. The whole time I was in therapy, rehab, I went to a AA or an NA meeting every single day, and I was in there from January 2019 to July 2019 every day. And I took that stuff so serious. I went to all my meetings. I did all my chores properly. I went on to my counseling because you had to have counseling. Then we went to classes every day. I went to church stuff. What's it called? Bible study. I was going to church. I was doing everything. I didn't talk to anybody. Like, nobody played with me when I was there, because I guess it's weird to be in a situation like that and be the only one that's not social. Because even the girls that you could tell weren't super social still had people that they talked to. I ain't talked to nobody. And I moved up very fast. Matter of fact, they told me that they hadn't seen anybody move up so fast, because when you elevated levels, you also got bigger accommodations. So I started out having 1 2 roommates, and having to have a shared bathroom on the whole unit. So I guess like 7 girls shared one bathroom, which that might seem like, but there were multiple bathrooms up there, but it might seem like a lot. But with our schedules, I don't even remember having to like wait to use the bathroom. So yeah, and so I went from that, and like there were 2 bunk beds in the room. I was on the bottom, my roommate was on the top, and then my other roommate, she just had her own space. So yeah. And then after I graduated to that, I went to a separate house where I had my own room. Still shared a bathroom, but only shared a bathroom with 3 other girls. But I was in a townhouse, and that was the end of my rehab. And had I been able to go to the next level, it would have been an apartment. But things happened, and I needed to leave so I could get my kids. The day I stepped out of rehab, I got all 6 of my kids back, plus 2 of their little friends. So I had 8 kids and myself to take care of. And I was the only one working for 3 to 4 months while we were there. Yeah. So while everybody was busy talking about me, thinking they know what was going on in my life, I was really going through it. And I did everything to make sure they did not feel it. My house, I was always cleaning. I was washing everybody's clothes. I had to cook for everybody. I had to find a way to feed 8 teenagers every single day. And I'm the only one working. I was working at FedEx overnight, pushing box, slinging box. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. Powerful things that very few know. And I've never sat back and given myself any credit for that, because I was so guilty of so much. Not even felt guilty. Was guilty. Did feel guilty, but I was guilty. So because I did these things, I felt like I deserved the tough road. I guess it was my penance. Just like how when Mother's Day comes around, I don't feel like people who lost custody of their children for 8 years deserve to be celebrated on Mother's Day. So like I whole ass just skip over that. I don't like to be celebrated because I don't feel like I deserve it. My alarm went off for therapy. I'm glad I went. Therapy was actually really, really good today. I asked my therapist, like I told y'all I would, about what Kateri left in my comment section. She said that bipolar is a trauma response. So I was like, I don't know. I'm going to ask my therapist about that. So I did, and what my therapist told me, let me get my notes. Okay. What she said was that due to genetics, if you have bipolar parents, you have a predisposition to becoming bipolar. Having a trauma will cause an onset of the bipolar. I believe she said that she believes that without the trauma, the bipolar would not be activated. So moving forward, another thing that Kateri left in the comment section was that I should look at my triggers deeper to find out why I respond to certain things the way that I do. So I did that. And what I found was, I'll give you an example of the biggest trigger that I have. When I go into a room, for whatever reason, my brain can see every inconsistency or flaw or mess. I will zero in on specks of dust, crumbs, pieces of rice, just hair, anything. And I'm in a constant state of cleaning. And so it's the only problem that I have with my teenagers is them not cleaning a room perfectly. And I didn't realize that my standards for cleanliness were unreasonable for normal people. Every time I would go into a room and it wasn't perfectly cleaned after they used it, I took it as a personal attack. I legitimately thought that they were purposely missing these details to be defiant, which made me feel unheard, unloved, and disrespected, which were the exact ways that I felt in my marriage experiencing abuse, which was the exact way that I felt in my childhood growing up with my adopted parents experiencing abuse and not having a voice, which pushed me back to my birth parents and giving me up for adoption and those feelings of inadequacy. So our triggers really do originate in childhood trauma. And my therapist said I did a good job tying that all together and that this is the work. So when we have a trigger, it automatically takes us back to the original trauma. That is the trigger. That's the nervous system. And she brought up the neural network, which I need to do more research, because she said the neural network is activated and opened and you are experiencing trauma when you are triggered. But I need to look up neural network and understand how that plays into this whole thing. But I related to that because when I'm triggered, it actually physically hurts my body. And so when I told her that the only thing basically keeping me alive is my kids, because I know that they need me, and if I didn't have them, I would really be one of those people that lived in the middle of the woods. I would not have relationships. I would not talk to anyone. I would not be around people. And she said that she thinks I have avoidance personality trait. She sent me a link to read on different personality types, but she seemed to get very excited about this area of our therapy because she's an expert in personality traits, and she discussed how narcissism is actually a personality trait, which is why it's not like a disorder that can be fixed. Like, if a person's a narcissist, that's who they are, not what they are, type deal. And another one she brought up was borderline personality traits, or borderline personality, which she said she does not believe I am. And she also made sure to say that she doesn't believe I'm a narcissist either, even though she didn't say this, but I know fully that my ex-husband was one. I'm so grateful for therapy. And this is why therapy is important, because these people are experts in psychology and can reframe things for you that help you understand yourself better. They're just there to help you heal. They are agents of assistance. It's counseling. Native Americans had councils. They always had elders that they could go to because they had more experience. These people have experience. They have studied the mind and can help you figure your stuff out. This is so valuable to me. And I did not want to go. My brain will tell me to just not show up, to not go. And every time I do, I get like a breakthrough, because this is a major breakthrough for me. So she said there's about like 12 or 13, maybe even 15 personality types. I don't know, maybe more. But I'm going to read the link. And she told me that I don't need to rush through it. But I'm going to read all of them because, no, I'm not trying to rush. But, like, I want to get on it, though. Because this is really interesting. And this is, like, an area that I've never gone into as far as therapy. And I'm actually very excited about it. And I'm glad she clarified those things for me. And we're going to talk about it more in my live show this weekend, All Things Female. I just made a quick little salad out of romaine lettuce, spicy brown mustard, and apple cider vinegar. Very, very simple salad. And I'm going to have it with a side of about a cup of cold curry spaghetti. Look, this lasted for a week and a half, and I had made them beans. They just went through the beans yesterday. Yep, that's what pre-planning will do for you, baby. I still have a lot to work on. I talked to my therapist about managing my emotions, and that I've decided to write about them from the very, very beginning, starting with being put up for adoption. Well, I told her I would start from my earliest memory, which was being told that I was adopted. It was either on my 7th or my 11th birthday. I'm not sure which one, but that's my earliest memory. So I'm going to start from that, and I'm going to write about everything. About my adopted parents, what it was like growing up, the abuse that I encountered, the bullying in school, the getting pregnant young, falling in love with older men, being essayed, growing up in Baltimore, not being accepted when I was in private school by the rich white kids. Then when I got thrown into public school, not being accepted by the cool urban kids because I was so articulate and just grown. Then everything that I experienced transitioning into a new neighborhood and being jumped and bullied, and I attempt on my life, another loss of a child, and then going from that destructive household to then getting into a toxic relationship, and just all the stuff we went through going in and out of state, all the just the crime, the pain, the kids, the DSS, just everything. And I feel like once I just like purge this from my soul, I will be a more whole person and a healthier person. Because throughout the day, randomly, I will just have memories just pop up, horrible memories from my past. And sometimes it's just so deafening and so striking that I just, in that moment, it's just not something I want to deal with, and I walk away from it and find a distraction. But I don't want to do that anymore, because I want to enjoy my life, and I don't want to have repressed memories popping up whenever they feel like it, intruding upon my peace. So I feel like once I acknowledge my past, it'll stop haunting me. What do you think? Have you ever been taught to process emotions? Have you ever processed your trauma? Do you think about it? Does it pop up as nightmares and intrusive thoughts and just like underlying rage? I know it does for me. I don't want to live like that. This whole avoidant personality thing, I'm looking forward to looking into that. She says it's all based in fear. I see people as dangerous. They are dangerous, though. I see the animal and the threat in people. I see the deception. I see the potential for deception. And I choose to just not want to be a part of society, basically. I just want to be removed away. Like, I don't want to be a part of none of what nobody got going on. And I am perfectly content being alone. Just like how I have such a hard time understanding why people who are locked up go crazy in solitary confinement. When I was in juvenile and I got put in solitary, I was fine. I was just fine. It was me and my thoughts. I, I had a book, I had my food, I was fine. And apparently that's not normal. I don't know. The more I learn about myself, the better. So, thank you for spending time with me here in Fury World. Can you relate to the things that I've spoken about in this video? Because I want to know if I missed something as far as processing emotions. Do you just naturally process the emotions? Do you take the time when you experience something traumatic to really sit in how you feel, or do you just keep going? Because I don't know about you, but life still had to go on, bills still had to be paid, people still had to go to work, kids still had to go to school, homeschool, when my ex died, or when their brother got locked up, or when he almost bled out because he busted a window out of anger and got glass and cut his arms up. Everybody still had to get up and go to work the next day. So it's like, I want to know how many people actually know that it's important to process their emotions. We're going to figure this thing out together, friend. Thank you for spending time with me in Fury World. If you'd like to check out my music, my artist name is The Fury of Abyss, and my music is available on all music streaming platforms worldwide. I love you, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.